Welcome to the 20 Sides Podcast. This is a wrap-up episode. This is part 2 of our Campaign 1 wrap-up. So if this is the first time that you are experiencing 20 Sides, thank you for being here. We suggest you go back to episode 1 of Campaign 1 and listen through because it's incredible. And our episodes run 30 to 40 minutes, and so they're not crazy long. Episode 119 happened last, and that's where our campaign finale is, at episode 119. This is a wrap-up to the campaign. This is not an overview. If you're looking for storyline and things like that, we don't get into that here. This is more back-end character information, location information, things that we maybe would have done differently or wanted to see differently. Just kind of a culmination for the group as far as, the end of the campaign and how we felt and what we saw and the intensity, all those good things. We talk about a lot of it here. And so thank you for being here and listening. This is part 2. Part 1 is probably where you want to start if you're coming here for the wrap up. Enjoy the episode and let us know what you think. Follow us on all the socials and all the places. Make sure that you subscribe. And again, if you're new, make sure you check out entire Campaign 1. You're going to love it. Enjoy the episode.
Thanks for joining us today. My name is Matt, and I'm sitting down with the 20 Sides crew to kind of give us a overview of the campaign and kind of talk some spoilers and go through it and kind of get into some details of how each and every decision was made.
That's what's so hard about DMing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like,
I'm sure
you
you
do
come
that
up with
for
all kind of crazy stuff that
Yeah,
we
we
never
never-
actually.
I bet DMing is so easy, so I don't even know what's happening. You're just like, what, a narrator? Basically, like, you already make weird voices.
So with that, go back to the DMing. Was there any favorite room, hallway, house that you had set up that they just completely missed? That there was an area in a dungeon and they went left when you were like, if they would have went right,
Probably every
this
time.
would have been the
sure.
best spot. Anything jumps out to you?
Or did we go left and you were like,
Did
no,
the,
I'm not
what's it
doing
called?
that. We're gonna
The
do
quantum ogre theory.
Yeah.
Man,
I
I'm
like
sure
that.
there.
I
I'm
like
sure
that.
there was. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I know they bypassed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Like
then there were
like
some
the panther
fights.
in, or was it a panther? What was
There was a
in
panther in
Belshire's Tower
yeah,
that we totally
yeah.
we just like ran past it.
Cora,
Corin. Yeah.
Corin's den.
Yeah.
I think more so like there were fights that I wanted to be better that
Yeah.
ended up being trivial for them. And a lot of that is like the way the dice, just, how it works. But there were like, I feel like all the dragon fights were too easy.
Yeah.
But dragons
Agreed.
to me, like it's so hard because
Surprisingly, yeah.
they can fly. And so
Yeah.
you could make them fly the entire time and none of them could really hit it outside of Leo.
Silas.
And then,
Silas
Silas
I wouldn't
could
have been
later
there.
on.
I really,
Yeah.
But
I don't
like
think
you could fly
Did we
and
fight a
just
dragon when I was
blast them with your
Oh,
breath
that's true,
weapon the
yeah.
whole time. But like that's not fun for half the party. And then they're just like, what the heck? Like this is dumb. And so
Never show up again.
yeah. They're like, well, I can't play Saturday. Sorry. I think it was more combats than like specific rooms. There were things that I wished would have happened that didn't, like with the Censor of Thormir, with Leo, with Seven breaking it. And then
sorry.
Gosh, 7.
there were a couple of other things later on. I'm sure they'll pop up as we keep talking. But there were moments like that I was like, man, I wish they would have done X. Like I wish they would have gone and gotten Omen the staff, and they never went and got it because I had it planned. I planned it 3 different times because they just never went to it because I was gonna have like at one point because it's a Thormir's abandoned temple. It was gonna be taken over by gray dwarves in the primal void that got lost. As they were exploring, ended up getting lost and can't find their way back. And so it was going to be like, you can either kill them, you can fight them, you can talk to them, you can like befriend them, whatever. Like there's a million different options. And then once they kept leveling up, I was like, all right, it's going to be something else. And so I planned it out 3 different times and they never went to it. There were different scenarios like that. I'll think of more. But yeah.
Yeah.
There were some times where we would play and I would have like 12 pages of notes and we would get to like the first 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There were several times where you would be like, "Man, guys, I had all this stuff planned."
Yeah.
and you went in a completely different direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
is that something you could have like recycled back through?
Some
Kind
of
of.
it, yes. So like in D&D, there's the quantum ogre theory. It's like you come to a fork in the road. Which
Yeah.
do you go left or right? And if they say we go left, well, up ahead there are 2 ogres waiting for you. All right, cool. If you were to say, hey, we're gonna go right, guess what's up ahead waiting for you?
Yeah.
2 ogres. So like it's like the illusion of choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Where luckily I didn't have to do that all the time, but you know, you can do it a couple times.
Yeah.
You can do it a couple
Yeah,
times.
So now y'all are
Especially if
at
it's an
the
important
other side of the
Right.
grasslands, right? Y'all made it all the way
Well,
through.
we
Go down the
went to
mausoleum.
Yeah.
No,
well,
they're in the mausoleum.
Yeah.
So we're still in the grasslands in the mausoleum, but we had to go beneath the mausoleum,
Right.
Yeah,
which
'cause-
was
Where you saw Panner again.
because they were supposed to. Why
There's
did
a portal.
Yes, the
Yeah.
portal was there.
The porter.
The
But I don't
purder.
know where
Purder.
it was going though.
The portal to the Deathbloom tree.
Yes,
Oh,
it was
This is
okay.
where we get our
Deathloop
first
tree.
gem.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
portal to DBT.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
that was where we kind of, I think there was some cool like realizations there where it was like Thormir is putting his army together because here is this cavern
Yeah.
Right.
full of skeletons.
Yeah.
And so it looks a lot more like,
Right. This is
okay.
serious,
Like,
right.
yeah,
We
he's
kind of saw
really
little pieces up
crazy.
to this point.
Right,
Now,
like-
oh, this is a real problem.
Yeah.
This isn't.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, we
But
also
he had
run.
one
We
less.
found
Mhm.
Panner,
Panner.
a very weak,
Yeah.
A weakened
a very
Panner.
weakened Panner.
You got a planar gate key.
Yeah.
Yep, we did. We got
Now where we get did we get her weapon?
Windstalker.
Yeah,
Windstalker.
Windstalker.
I almost said Shadowheart.
Yeah,
Windstalker.
Windstalker.
Baldur's Gate 3. It's not even the same thing.
Heard that.
Windstalker, which tied into the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
we go
With
with
the
the rogues.
Windstalkers.
Yeah.
The guild.
Yep.
Yeah, you got Windstalker,
Windstalker,
and you
uh-huh.
saw Dahlman again down there.
We
Yeah.
did.
You remember
that
Dahlman?
was
Redheaded
that was a
little
double
sneak.
that was a double
Double
crit
cro-
moment.
Oh, that was when 7
double crit.
got double 20s, and
And-
the lightning bolt kind of reflected.
Yeah. And so because it was a check,
Yeah.
and I rolled double 20s, and instead of it killed him.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know what that silence. He was like, I'm sorry guys.
Yeah.
I was trying to like my bad.
But that
Also-
guy was a little double crossing backstabber.
Yeah,
so
that guy
he
sucked.
deserved to
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
Is that
anyways.
where you tried to use that like whooshing on us, and then she whooshed it back or something?
Oh, the like
Yeah, the
deathfall
cloud
or cloud
kill.
kill. Yeah.
Oh, I
You
think
call it
so.
something
Yeah,
else,
yeah. That was a cool battle because it's like he was running. It was
Yeah,
all those
it was like-
skeletons.
Yes.
Y'all were
Yeah.
afraid to like touch
Good
anything.
touch.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
it
where
was
Ted
just
came
a-
from, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where Ted
Because we
came
rest- we took-
from.
we took a long
Best
rest.
decision I ever made.
we took a long rest, and 7 saw her leave because 7 didn't
Oh, that's
sleep.
right.
And so 7 saw her
yeah, he
leave
was
and
like,
come back with a
Or
skeleton.
eat,
Yeah.
or even.
Or drink or even sleep or anything.
Because we had just leveled up or something, and I got animate dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna see if this works.
Yeah.
Best
Yes.
decision. Birth
And it
the
sure
skeleton.
Yeah, because I remember planning on if you came back and I didn't know it was a
You would
skeleton, I was
kill
going to
it.
kill it. and I was
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Yeah.
But then, like,
yeah.
it was if I was going to wake up and I was rolling to see if I woke up. I was like,
Yes, yeah.
if I roll and I wake
Smash
up, I'm
it.
just going to wake up and it's like, it's a skeleton and kill it immediately. But I didn't wake up.
He just chilled and watched us.
Yeah. He waved.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
Love
We went to
Ted.
that's when we went to the Deathbloom tree.
Deathbloom tree.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
that was an example of them figuring out how to bypass everything.
Just
Because,
flew
like,
over
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
Y'all just
So she
flew over
got-
everything.
Yeah.
What would we have encountered?
There were some like
Well, I remember the
vines that
vines
y'all
were
Yeah, I
were
remember they were
stepping
well,
through.
even when we got there, they were grabbing at our feet
Yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
and
Right.
whatever.
There were a couple of trees that would have some awakened trees that would have attacked you.
Mm.
So lots
Some
of little
giant mosquitoes.
well,
Like,
no.
that would have been nice. Yeah.
We can't hear anything.
Yeah.
That, I feel like a lot of times over the course of the campaign, little stuff like that really got us. And the
Yes.
big bads,
Right.
like not so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that may have been one of those moments where we
Well-
would have got to the tree and just like needed a really long rest.
Yeah.
One of the things I remember about the Deathbloom tree is
Oh, Lord.
7 being very, very much like jealous of Ted. because it seemed like everybody really liked
I
Ted.
do remember this.
And so I
The
was
new
like,
guy.
I was like playing off of the like, but then it was somehow it worked out where it was like, all right, 7, you're gonna go with Ted. And I remember being like, all right, like, you know, grab his hand and like, you know, like, come on, like pull him, whatever.
Like,
And
here,
then,
that's my
but then
chain.
when during
my whip.
the first combat to even get into the tree,
Yeah.
like I'm missing and like stuff's grabbing my feet and everything, and Ted's hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted. And I'm like, stay Ted.
Good job, Ted.
Yeah. Like,
Well, that was back in the day when you used to roll your dice.
yes.
Like your physical dice.
Yes, but it was awful. It
I
was
just
so
love.
bad.
I just
So
still like
bad.
have the fondest memory where like you guys are like all in my bag holding and we are flying, and then Ted is like I'm holding onto him in his little like skeleton legs, like and I'm like you guys have to go in the bag, but Ted can. I'm gonna hold
We like
Ted
cannot
like a
breathe in
baby.
there. We're trying
the
our
one
best
that
to not
doesn't
die.
need to breathe. He's
Yeah.
gonna stay outside. Yeah.
But
What
that
if she would
was.
have ripped the bag of holding then and y'all got scattered?
Ooh, but she didn't even know she could do that.
No.
Yeah.
None of us
So
did.
that was my.
Did you know? Did you know that about the?
Bag of holding.
I didn't. No. I think I've read it at some point, but
Right.
if you would have asked me, I would have had to look it up for
Right,
sure.
It's not like something you think
You
would
had thought
happen.
of- yeah.
like,
So
Right.
the motivation for 7, like when it was all said and done, to like grab the gem and stick it into Eternal Rest, was I had been rolling terrible all day, and so it was kind of this
I wanna
like
be the hero.
like
I need to do
7's frustrated.
something.
No, it's
Yeah.
more frustration, and like he's like. Because I think I had to save Yaros a couple times, and I had
Probably
to like,
not.
and it was this like crazy. Yeah, no. It was like this crazy like I was like trying to heal everybody, and you know Ted's doing his thing and getting praised for it, and so 7 in his frustration of like nothing's going right,
Yeah.
like just grabbed the gem and just tried to stick it into Eternal Rest. as
That
hard
was
as
an
he could.
example of a boss fight that went well.
Yeah,
Like,
that was a
for
good
me,
one.
Yeah,
Because I remember, I think Ordella got
with
down.
the blights coming up and stuff.
Yes.
And
Yeah, because I think Ordella got down because
That
I
was a lot
remember
closer. Yeah.
at the end, like she climbed up in a tree or something like that and was just like, I need a break. Like all of y'all were like, we need a break
Yeah, it was
now.
close.
Yeah, that was an example of tuned correctly.
So with downing a character, what's your fear of taking out the party too early versus not? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
have all this planned, but then they run into something like that and the rolls just wipe them out.
Right. The hope is they would be smart enough to run.
Nah.
But
That he would be smart enough to
We go
run.
down. We go down together.
yeah.
Right.
That's the hope. Is like if you're getting so overwhelmed, you gotta
Get
run.
out of there.
Like when
Yeah.
Panner hit him with lightning, Bobby playing Yaros was smart enough to go, okay, you know what?
Right,
We're
back
good.
off.
We're good. We're
Right.
good. Our bad. Our bad.
I
and
thought
the
we should
same
just
with this.
never run.
And I think
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing for me is like once you down a character, so they're unconscious, how smart is the monster? Would the monster go, you know what, I'm gonna end this person's life right now. So I'm wiping through all the death saving throws and I'm just gonna kill them versus all right, now I'm turning my attention to somebody else. And if I turn my attention to somebody else, then somebody's just gonna throw a heal on them and they'll be right back up. So like it's like what's the balance there of doing these things and like who do you target? So a lot of a lot of DMs will be like you target the like you're not just gonna if the monster's smart, they're not just gonna rush up and get in a melee with the barbarian, they're gonna go after the wizard first, or they're gonna go after the healer first, kill the healer, then
Yeah.
nobody can be healed. And so it's like a fine balance of how smart is the monster versus like how just much of a beast is it. And
Yeah.
then thinking of all right, if I kill one, I was always of the mindset like I'm okay if one of them dies. Like dies. I didn't want to kill like
Obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't want to kill like 3 of them because then
It's
you
like a holding party,
you
basically.
change the whole dynamic of the game, and I'd liked the dynamic. Like we were having a lot of fun, and so I was like, a lot of the times if one character dies, then it kind of brings everybody else together tighter, and then if I feel like if 2 die, it's tougher.
Yeah.
But
Did you ever
Makes
anticipate us to welcome Silas the way that we did?
no, not
No.
at all.
We're so salty.
Did we? Like, I don't even know how or why that happened.
I mean, it just happened. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess we did have time to think. Like, Because we introduced. Oh, we'll get to that.
We're
Yeah,
going to head.
Yeah.
But I think with that, like, you got to let the dice tell some of the story,
Yes.
right? Or else it's us just narrating a book on tape,
Right.
right? And I
Which
think
we
you have to be careful,
love.
right? Oh yeah, no, I think, but yeah, you got to let the dice tell some story, and if there's no real danger, right? You can just kind of. I'm just gonna go and attack. I'm just gonna. It's like you go
it's
through
not
an
fun.
encounter. It's not fun,
Right.
So
'Cause-
likewise, what was y'all's strategy in attacking monsters as a party when there was like a horde? Was there one?
I say, what's that?
Exactly, or was it just attack?
What was that
whoever
word?
you
Yeah.
want?
Strategy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the very
I
back.
think-
Go for the
I'm like,
weakest,
I'm going-
shoot at
I'm
whoever
gonna
you
be in
want.
the back.
Not take them down one by
we just
one,
went
obviously.
for it, dude. That's what I mean by like Lichbane's
Spread it out.
thing. Was
Spread
like,
all the damage around.
All the damage out. So the
Our
monsters
motto
stay
was,
alive.
I
They kill us
100%.
better.
I don't even want to know the
thinking
answer.
the whole
Yeah.
time.
If there is a real D&D strategy,
Stay
don't
Ramsey
tell me. I
this
don't
guy.
want to
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Like, I just
Snowball.
want
Yeah, our motto was like strategy. What strategy? What is a strategy?
Which one are you going for
Noticeable.
next?
Yes.
That was basically like
noticeable.
eeny, meeny,
You
miny,
guys like,
moe,
who got
like,
hit?
Yeah.
Which one got hit? That one? No,
let me-
I'll just shoot
and
that
one day I would be like, I'll
That
go for
was
that
the
one, and
strategy.
another day I would be like, let me go for one who hasn't been.
Right, exactly.
Let's do a little
Or,
That is
I
how
feel
it
like-
happened.
or we'd be like, what was that guy's name? Oh, I don't like that name. I'm going to
Yes.
get him. Or which one
Literally.
is the ugliest? Okay, we're going to kill him
100% we have
first.
attacked on that
So
before.
did that also make your play more difficult?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Because
Yeah.
you're like, you have all of these.
Yeah.
And again, people who don't play these type of games, like, because you play video
Oh,
game
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
so
For
getting something
sure,
off the
pinpoint.
field is better than
Correct.
hitting everything
Clear
and they're
the
all
board.
still alive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And like I know that stuff too, and like
Focus fire.
Bobby, I
not
played The Sims for 30 years.
similar, very similar.
So I don't know. Are you?
I want to make this work. Wash the dishes.
Yeah.
But again, having people who don't play D&D, I think adds like, okay,
Right.
there's some chaos
An element
here
to
to
it.
a fight
Yeah,
that
for
normally,
sure.
if you just played with
Right.
people who play like min-maxing video games,
Yeah.
to where you're like, okay, this is the order, we all do this.
So what I'm
Makes
hearing
it-
you say is we should go for one person until they're dead and then go for another?
Right, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I don't like that.
I'm like, that doesn't sound right either.
when there's five on the five monsters, if you damage them equally and they're all still alive, they all still get to attack.
They're
They all
damaging
still
you.
get to damage you. If you all kill this one, now you only got 4 people that can attack.
I stayed alive for years.
Yeah.
Still alive for
She's like,
years.
For years.
Yeah.
But the way I was
still-
able to kind of add,
Yeah.
to where I could throw that away. Like
Right.
that part of my brain was, oh, I'm in
Rage.
Rage.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just go crazy. I'm just going to attack whatever's in front of me.
there.
So
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
I was able to write that off and
I
go
was
with the
like, but
chaos.
don't come for my friend. Or you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
But as a DM, like I knew that if I, like they were saying earlier, if I made one of them really ugly, they would attack it. Or if I made one of
Like,
them
that was
like say
stupid.
something negative to them,
Oh,
they were
yeah.
like, oh
Ew,
no,
we don't
I'm
like
killing
that.
for that one
My
first.
Yeah.
So
y'all
the-
killed
a
the
big-
necromancer
but see, like a-
druid.
Yeah, and a
I think
big,
that was my favorite gem.
The green
the
gem?
green one. Yeah,
the necromancer
So then a big thing happened when we left,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a whole other part of the story that I don't even think we knew was coming.
Right.
When we left, and they sniped Ordella.
oh my gosh.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And that was the first time the feet question that you asked where I was like, should I have been that
Yeah.
instead? Like, does that fit Ordella better than this inquisitive, which, whatever. But yeah, that was terrible.
Well, and I think that was one of the first times
Because they
that,
downed
like,
you, right?
And she was
Immediately.
honestly, and I came
Yeah.
out saying, I am looking, you know what I mean? But the fog was too
Yes.
thick.
Yeah.
But I was still trying, it's not like I was completely blindsided, so that was even more
The
heart-wrenching.
golden assassins got
yeah.
you quickly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Immediately.
and 7 healed, as he does.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all. Yeah.
And then we heard that ticking from the house.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't remember that part. Yeah.
What's this? What's
So
this?
there was we heard nothing ever came from that, did it?
I can't remember.
Ticking?
Yeah, there was like because
Where
I
are we
had
at
her.
right now?
Coming
What
out of
so
the
we
location?
had come out of the monastery.
Coming out of the monastery.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was real thick fog.
Yes. Okay.
She was downed. I went and got her and pulled her to the house because Yaros went into a rage and jumped up on the roof.
Mhm.
Or Leo jumped.
Yeah, I
Leo was
got
on the
Leo was on the
roof.
roof.
Yeah.
And so, but one jumped down and Yaros was chasing after.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it was this whole thing. And I had pulled Ordella to the house, like, because I had just
Yep.
killed her. But then you said we heard some kind of ticking in the house. And I was like, it's going to blow or something.
Oh,
We
it
gotta
did
get out of
blow.
here.
It did blow.
Okay, it did.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's right. Because the assassins put that in there, thinking y'all would go. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That was an example though of like in D&D you can tune encounters to be like exactly what the party needs in order to make it a challenge.
Right.
Or you can say, screw all of that idea and just let the monsters or the encounters be what they are.
Yeah.
So like in the grand
This
scheme
is
of
more
things,
casual, so you can open your candies.
the assassins
Allow
were
Matt's
about
gonna get
tuned
mad.
perfect for the 4.
Yeah.
But then later on in the campaign, the assassins came back and they were still the same level of assassins,
Right.
Yeah.
where they had leveled up
Yeah.
a ton and they just wiped the floor with
Right.
them, which lets them feel like, oh, we actually are more powerful than we were before. Because if you never,
Lets us feel
if
it.
everything is the same as it goes up, you don't ever feel
Yeah.
more powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
You just get more stuff. So, so y'all went from
We went from there to
Crow Reach.
Row Reach.
No, is this the point where he
Let's see.
destroys the
Outside the
sensor?
No, that had already happened.
We're-
That
so
happened before
outside
we
the
got to
mausoleum.
the
What about
I
how?
think something about
What is
intellectual
Yaros
devourers.
looking like? What are
That
his
was-
veins looking like at that point?
Did I
Oh,
learn
yeah,
down in
we
the
had
mall?
to
This
go
is where y'all
to
had to
Winland.
start.
We had to go
Oh,
to
yeah, you
I
went to
put
Winland.
yeah.
yeah, Winland, and
That
then
was great.
Yeah.
because we had to
Oh,
write.
yeah.
That was a very tense, like with the mind flayers
Yeah.
Yes.
in the
Oh, yeah.
caverns
Yeah.
to get the
But
rose
that was
water.
another
forgot
thing that
about
we
that.
did.
Yeah, the
that was
rose
another
water.
like yes.
The rose water, that's right.
We tricked them somehow. What did we do to trick them?
No, I think y'all just snuck
Snuck
in.
in.
I was
Yeah,
invisible and you
invisible and
snuck.
you stealthed, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
Okay.
holding
7
that
stayed
one.
back.
I was holding Yaros, who had lost his mind.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Because we
He-
tried to
Mike-
like.
Oh, yeah,
keep
you
him
were
in the, up
mush.
against the wall or something.
that's
like that.
right.
Like,
Your
did,
mind, like, was
yeah, so
played.
Was that
Because
the
it was
intellectual
a-
devourers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Gotcha.
that was
Got
the
me.
timer, right? And he had so long
Yeah,
Yeah.
before
so
he
much
had
time
to get.
before,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was fully turned, or
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were
Mhm.
mush. Your intelligence
Yeah.
was like 0 or
Right,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
2 or something like that.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I was keeping track of him
Mm-hmm.
while
Babysitting. Mm-hmm.
I do remember
and
that.
she hit some epic
Rolls.
rolls
Yeah.
on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, we like
And that was when
undetected.
Seven's kind of like final wrap up of a lot of his
Story.
like
Yeah.
or some of the memories he
Mm-hmm.
or dreams.
Mhm.
They were memories he thought were dreams, where Panner kind of helped him wrap all that together, and he realized who Winland was and
Yeah.
like all that kind of
Well,
Oh,
stuff.
I-
yeah, that's right.
Well, I remember
I wanted her
talking
to
to
know.
Winland before we left, and she was like, "Yeah, I blah blah blah," and I was like, "Oh," and then you were like, "Okay,
Yeah.
nice to meet you. Bye,
Mhm.
bye,
Yep.
ma'am. Thanks for your help."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, "Does he know?" And I was like, "Do we?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
Seven
you
knew.
yeah.
He won't do that to her.
And then I
forgot
wrote
about
going
that.
back to Kuro Reach.
Yeah, because that's when y'all talked to Willenor. Y'all hated Willenor.
Well,
I
did
mean, like
She
hate
wasn't very
is
likable.
a strong word.
Did you?
Did we hate her or were we just annoyed by her? So
Right.
we
Like,
gave
did
up
you
on her?
have
answer
more?
is yes.
which is a question I have for the end of the campaign. Why you did not
Utilize.
talk to her
But-
at all?
I
but
felt
we'll
like
get
we
to
tried.
that.
Because
Like,
we
did you-
had.
Them.
Okay.
Well, because we
Yeah,
had.
that's what I was like. I was like,
yeah.
here is a person.
We'll get there. We'll get
Okay,
there. We'll
okay,
get there.
okay,
We'll
okay.
get there.
But no, just I mean, we're on when.
But I was like, no,
Willenor
we need
is-
to
we're
get this
talking
out
about
the
this
table.
right
Like,
now.
I mean, we can address
Bombing
more of
to
it
the
later.
end, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But like,
Was she
what
not
was her-
helpful, or were you not
Ever.
asking the right
did
questions?
she have like more of a part? Like, did you plan on the Seekers of Light being like this bigger organization
No,
to
not
where?
really. I mean, I had them planned out, but just in case y'all were like, we want to be part of the guild,
Right.
part of the guild. But like
Never.
early on, it was like clear that y'all weren't interested.
We
in,
were kind of doing the
in-
bidding.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I think like for me, it was how do I get them information for things that would be really hard to get them information on with
Right.
with it being a little more organic. And so for like Crow Reach, for example, it's about to get attacked or it's getting attacked or whatever.
Mhm.
How do I get y'all that information as a DM so that that's the direction you go? I could have a random caravan come up. We're leaving Crow Reach because we heard it's going to be attacked. And it's like,
Right.
okay, we go that way. There are only so many different ways you can do it. That's one thing I
Right.
always struggle with is like, how do I get y'all to a different place? Or how do I point y'all to a different place without just saying, hey,
Dropping.
maybe go to Crow Reach now.
Right.
So like maybe you find a letter in a dungeon. Maybe
I
you
feel like I liked those routes more than like Willenor.
Right. But just to mix it up a little bit, it was like, all right, Willenor can provide some information. And then it eventually, well, and also y'all didn't truly trust her, I don't think.
I feel like I always I felt like the whole campaign I was in like an
She gave
R.L.
y'all
Stein.
gifts.
She did send you packages.
No, but
She did.
but not very often.
When
like
we
not,
asked for it.
Not yeah, like
So keep
we
asking.
had-
I want you to want to do it. I want you to want to give us gifts.
Well, I just felt like we were in like
Such
a
a woman.
Goosebumps story where like we were the kids and we were like telling the adults like, hey, this is going on. Like we saw this and they were just like, okay, sweetheart, I'm sure you did.
Yes,
like,
that's so
That's a-
real.
you
That's a
know,
good
and then
one.
like and
That's
then
how
we
we
had to
felt,
like
Matt.
solve it
Okay.
on our own, you know, like where were the adults?
I'm going to internalize that.
Right.
Yeah.
That was more of my thing is like, I looked at it as, okay, this is like the onset of the adventures. Willenor
Right.
is like going to be our guide.
Yeah.
And I thought, this, what were we, Seekers of the Light.
Yeah, yeah.
Was a bigger organization. And for the peons of
Yes.
this, I wanted to see like a bigger Seeker of the
Yeah.
Light come in every now and then just to show you like, okay, this is
Yeah.
Or
something
like
bigger.
have their
I didn't do a
army
good
or
job then
somebody
of-
or
There
their
you go.
group of
That's what I
mages
wanna hear,
like
Matt.
come and fight
all I
that
wanted to
Dyer's
do.
Rest with us or something. Like I wanted
replay
the
that.
Avengers to like unite and
yeah.
it didn't feel like
So
it.
in my mind, the Seekers, they had their heyday, and then they had
Oh,
the one
wow.
Seeker kind of go rogue, which Panner talked about, which some other
Which
folks talked about.
planted a seed
Seed
for us
of
to not
some
truly
trust.
trust
Right,
the
which did
Seekers.
plant
Yeah.
a seed.
Yep.
But also that they kind of had dismantled and there weren't as many Seekers left. And so they were trying to get more, I guess, recruits or whatever. And y'all happen to be a few of those.
I don't want to be part of your crappy organization
And
anyway.
y'all didn't want to, and that's okay.
Yeah. I feel like
And that's okay.
Halvar, was kind of like this organization's kind of lame anyway.
Yeah, that 95.5 he had.
Yeah. Well, he was an ex-seeker, or wasn't he?
But he
Yeah.
was-
So
he
we were
was-
like, oh, this
And
is
that's
kind of
how
like,
they got
excommunicated,
And that's how they got
though.
their information from this 95 guy.
yeah. So we were like, how organized are you?
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been interesting if you could have had another group of seekers also looking for this stuff and have them run across each other
Right.
and have to fight
Oh, that would've been
for
cool.
whatever it needs
Yeah.
to be
Oh,
because they're
yeah.
looking for the
You
glory
should have
from
been
this.
our
I just say, have
DMs.
you ever thought about DMing?
Do you want to
We just don't get to call you Matt as
Yeah,
well.
so it's really easy.
We're starting a second campaign today if you want to.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Hey, Matt, you want to go downstairs?
Hey, man, you mind going to get us some lunch? Why don't you go finish that chili?
Freak. Yeah.
So you get the water, rose water,
Rose
correct?
water, yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Then where we go with that?
We
Always
go
rose
back.
water.
So that monastery, we get him healed. And after we get him healed, that's when we talk to Willenor.
Willenor.
Yeah.
And
Crow Reach.
Wenlin
Yeah,
and,
Crow
and
Reach.
Panner decides to stay. We head on to Crow Reach, but we run across someone on the
Yep.
way to Crow Reach.
Yeah, in the Eastern Pines.
Who was
Lurdak.
named?
Vrez and
My
Zach.
two faves.
Oh.
We also run into
Yeah.
the dragon. We fight the dragon there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Because wasn't that the orbs?
Yeah.
Lurdak.
Yeah.
Lurdak.
Uh-huh.
Lurdak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took some notes every now and then.
Yeah, you
You're
did.
guiding us.
Is he green dragon?
Yeah, it's green dragon.
Yeah.
Lurdak.
Oh, Lurdak.
Lurdak.
And those orbs. And we were like, oh, these are cute. And then we're like, oh, no. They're.
But that was another thing where Seven, because the conversation that Leo has with Zalcom while everybody's asleep was when she found out about the key
Yes.
and where it goes, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so as Seven, I had to like pull it back and be like, oh, I mean, probably would have seen that, but I didn't. So, whatever.
Was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
after we fought the dragon, though?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because I
It was
remember we
right
were like,
before we got
oh,
into
here, we're
Purge.
going to give you this large tapestry that I took from the, and he was like, oh, thank you, like so excited. And then we gave, I don't even know what we gave Vrez something. And he was like, oh, go.
Vrez. Vrez is my guy.
Gave him a sock.
Vrez and Salvus.
Probably. And that's where Bertha, we got Big Bertha, the bull, water elemental bull.
Yeah.
Let's-
Okay. Did y'all go to? Did the dragon come to y'all, or did y'all go to the dragon?
Yeah, I
thought-
think we went to their like
I thought
lair.
the first time y'all went to the dragon, the Eastern Pines.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
The second
right.
time
Yeah,
the
because
dragon
they came
came
out of
to
this
you.
lair.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
This time the orbs was like the orbs went back to warn the dragon, I believe.
Yes.
Right, yeah,
And then the
that's
dragon
right, yeah.
came.
Yeah.
Yeah. And y'all made quick work of the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all had leveled up. It was a younger dragon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did like the orbs.
I put Leo
I like those
RIP'd,
as a
and then I
character.
put a few teeth, few scales. So that must have been stuff that I stole off the dragon.
Yeah. Y'all ended up doing all these things and literally never did anything
Yes.
with
Yeah, well,
anything that I gave y'all.
That was my toxic trait,
Do
I
y'all
guess.
wish y'all would have used more of the things you collected along the way?
Well, I think that's part of
knowing what I know now. Yeah.
Or buying more things or
Yeah.
shopping more?
I know we
you
did not shop much. We had lots of money.
At all.
I do think like, and I don't know if it's because we're newer, like at this, but like sometimes I don't know what I can do,
Yeah.
and I can't think creatively enough. That's something I'm really pushing myself to do.
Yeah,
like for the
true.
next campaign
Yeah.
is really
Same.
thinking like I don't know if I have to like. That's why I'm kind of reading Lord of the Rings to just see if I can like get some inspiration from like not even a character anymore, but like what can I do now that I know how to create this person. Like I just want to do cool stuff. Like I don't know what could we have done with those scales. I genuinely do not know the answer.
I'm just gonna start saying what I'm gonna do, and then let the DM be like, "No, you can't do that."
Right.
That was not. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with
Like-
me, it's hard thinking like as a podcast, like what do people want to listen to? Do they want to hear? Because I don't listen to Critical Role, but there's always the thing of
Yeah.
like, oh, they spend 2 hours in a shop.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, and with our episodes being so much shorter and everything, it's like one episode in the shop, you know, even if it's just a 40-minute,
Right.
you know, it could be fun. Like we've had fun experiences in weird places and
Yeah,
something
true.
cool could come from it. But at the same time, like, do you want to spend that time?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
good
something else is
point.
just like, how long is this game? It's 100 episodes?
119.
119 episodes. So that's 2 years of episode. And it felt like we did a lot. I felt kind of done with my character at that point.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's a long time to play one
keep
character.
dragging it out. Yeah.
So it's like you kind of want to just keep going, right? You just want to keep progressing the story, and it's spending time in the shop, spending time asking what we can do with these green scales, and like again, it
Or
could
a
be
bear
something
costume,
cool.
you know?
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just things like that where sometimes you just get caught up. You're just trying to drive the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the
that's
same
true.
time, though, again, some of our best and favorite moments that we talked about, is like you throwing an airplane trying to get us a node, is hilarious. And so maybe we should lean into some of those moments more.
Or those two in the, was it a bookshop?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
bookshop where you're invisible the whole time.
Yeah.
You're like blaming things on her. And so it's like, exactly. So
But a lot of that, and I see that too as like her throwing the airplane thing, as hilarious as that was, it was trying to move the story along.
Right.
Yeah.
They needed to get us information kind of quickly instead of like, well, we're going to walk back up and we're going to, you know, like, or that kind of thing. Same with the bookstore. Y'all were in there to try to get information on things we had just learned about.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it really was trying to move the story along, but taking those moments in trying to move the story along and having fun with them and like playing with them. Because I think about that too, especially like if you were going to, like, if you had a favorite TV show, like this is why like Game of Thrones and stuff always made me so mad, because it would be like an hour-long episode of nothing. Nothing happened. And it'd be like,
Cut that out. No big deal.
Yeah. Every episode of Game of Thrones had a reason.
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah, that last season.
Well, up and it's not even really part of the story.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like,
They were also getting tired of their characters.
Yes, they were.
That's a very good analogy of
Yeah,
what
it
is.
is.
You know, you do start to kind of accelerate things at the end because you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
well,
we're
which will-
done.
yeah.
Right. So,
Crow Reach.
Crow Reach. Some madness happened in Crow Reach.
Right.
Jants,
Running through the-
Jants
Oh
happened.
my gosh.
in
That's
Crow
where it
Reach.
happens.
I
That's
swear that got
Jants.
so funny.
I think it was just so ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
that we were
Did
like,
it come
no.
through? Like, do you
Do you even know what we're talking about, Jance?
Not
Not
no.
really.
I mean,
Right.
if I
Cut
yeah.
like
Yeah, you
90%
cut it,
of
you
that
cut
is
most of it out. And I
Okay,
remember
so-
listening to the episode being like, dude, this was one of the funniest things on the planet.
they
We
were
cut it
ever
all out.
like of my life?
So remind me, who was Jance? What did
Well,
he do?
so
It's a
Jance was
town.
the name of
this
a
is
city.
how, this is how not hit it went.
Because you took it all
He
out.
took it all out.
He had never heard it.
He didn't figure it out.
How is this?
asking
But it didn't
about
take
it.
because he never heard it.
floor.
Yeah.
Nobody
asking
likes it.
about
So Matt didn't like it.
He's
So
like, I consulted
Matt
myself
said-
and I decided to take it out
Yeah.
loud. And we're like,
Even
wait
though
a
we
second.
all literally bought matching Jance pants and then had to
Really?
return them
So-
because you didn't
Yeah.
leave it in
Idiots.
us.
So
Yeah.
Jance was the name of a town that
Yeah.
had been destroyed apparently by the army.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
or the
Okay.
By
army of
Boromir,
undead.
yeah.
Okay.
and I don't know how it got. I don't something. I was like,
is this the like drunk guys in Crow Reach?
No. This is us just.
This was
okay.
This was sober, but acting very.
This
we
is
heard about it.
Improving to a ridiculous
level.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Everyone's
something
confused.
happened where it was like Jance the party pants or something like that. And then it was like we could hear. I know. So then it was like somebody said something about the commercials or whatever. Like I can't believe Jance.
can't
Like
believe the factory.
where are we gonna get our party pants? The pants factory in Jance.
Yeah.
And like and then
And then we're
Yeah, I don't think
describing
any of this made it.
it didn't. He took it all out.
nothing.
Yeah.
And then the what was it? Orcs on the wyverns.
Oh yeah.
Orcs came down the wyverns, and somebody said something about Jance being destroyed, and we were like, the orcs, like, oh, not Jance.
Yeah.
And we're talking about what
know
they
about-
are
Pants.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, what's the party
Yes,
pants?
it's
Like,
the party
you know,
pants.
parachute pants or something.
Yeah,
They're
like
hilarious.
MC
so hard. I'm
Hammer.
just sitting there like,
It would have
We
played so
started
well,
like
dude.
singing.
It
like,
would have
that.
played
Like,
so well.
Chance, it's a party
let 'em
pants.
Yeah, we were like,
literally,
like, literally had a
Jess is
commercial.
singing like a theme song to it.
She's
And
like,
we're all like, yeah,
Jance,
like,
the party pants. Like, well, you remember you remember the commercials? Yeah. Jance,
It
the
was
party
real.
pants.
We
That's
talked about
great.
it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
About,
That's
remember
It was
Jan's pants?
hilarious. Hilarious.
Whatever, Matt. I'm so mad at you.
Yeah, hilarious.
I'll do an extended edition of whatever.
Okay.
I say.
Yeah, like he
we
still
need
has that
that.
audio.
Yeah.
He got that audio.
I mean, we laughed for 10 minutes.
Dude, it was
But
so
nobody
funny.
knew. Nobody
Nobody
stopped
got-
to describe it or like explain what we were laughing at. We all just kept building on, the same
Jance.
joke.
Just
The fact
playing
that
onto it.
where the party pants are made was just destroyed,
Yes.
and we were upset about
Yeah.
it.
I think that's also something that's really funny with this campaign, or maybe just like our friendship, is like there are a lot of times where like we will make a joke, like I will make a joke or something, and like Bobby will start laughing at it or like whatever, and Matt just like it goes right over his head, or he like doesn't pay attention.
Totally over my head.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we're
It
all like,
happens, like, once in a hour.
Cracking
that's
up.
good, and
Yeah.
Matt's like,
But at the same
okay.
time, like speaking as like having DM'd,
Thank you.
a lot of the time, like
You're
you are just
focused.
like focused,
Yeah.
dude. Like you can't even like comprehend what's going on. You're just like, what do I need to do next? Like,
Yeah.
what voice am I about to try to use?
Oh,
Like, you have so
yeah.
much that you're trying
Yeah.
to like. So
Sean
I give you
Evans
some
effect.
grace. What's this?
Sean Evans
I
effect.
don't know who this is. A sports.
No, hot ones. He's in
Hot
the zone. He's eating the hot ones. But they're not affecting
that
him
just
because
went
he's
all over our
focused.
heads.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This went over our
Yeah.
heads.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
Or Matt will try to say a joke or use like an
And
analogy.
she would have said it like
Oh,
30 minutes
You're
earlier.
right. It happens a lot.
and I'm just like,
I just said that.
Were you
Like I just
listening?
said it.
and we all already laughed at it.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
talking and I'm like looking at my notes.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
And
And
I
a
don't
lot
hear
of
anything
times,
else.
Right,
what
right.
we say is like way more funny than what you'd
That's
said.
also
so,
true.
Or he'll
True.
text us
That's
when he's
true.
editing and be like, "Oh my gosh, I just heard you say this.
Say
That's so
right.
funny."
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it
That's
was.
what-
That's why the entire table laughed.
Yeah, that's why we're cracking up.
All right, whose turn is it?
No,
And
I get
I'm
it.
locked in.
This was also something happened here that we never really revisited, and I kind of wondered why.
Reveal.
Crow
We're
Reach.
in Crow Reach.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ordella's sister.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
two things then, because I thought of something
Oh,
completely
something else
different.
too. Yeah, the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Well, the
a
devil, I
whole
thought that-
arc,
Yeah.
y'all. There was a whole arc in my mind with the devils that we just never
yeah.
got to.
Oh.
And I thought y'all may like go down that route at some point to like it for whatever reason it just never sparked y'all's interest enough, and so I never fully
Pushed it.
Pushed it.
and I never like fully developed it either. But it was always there, and I really liked the idea, and it was like so in D&D, and I think I talked about it. The devil talked about it to Leo
Leo.
when she sat down. But in D&D, you've got the abyss, which is our primal void, which is where the demons live. And then you got the hells where the devils live. And they're constantly at odds with each other. There's this, they call it the blood war, where they're constantly feuding. And the devils, in my mind, and I talked to Jess about this several nights ago. We were watching the Critical Role cartoon, and I was like, I've always had this idea of in the hells, there's this library that has never been destroyed and is like the protectors of just the most ancient lore you could ever find.
Yeah.
And it's protected by the devils. And they know about Thormir, and they know what Thormir is trying to do because their lieutenants are so in tune with what's happening with the demons and undead. And so the devils were going to the material plane. They were going to Aklura to try to convince these town leaders that all this stuff was going to happen. And that's why the mayor of Crow Reach was doing what he was doing
with the
because
devils.
the devil had convinced him and was like, dude, this is going to happen. Like, if you don't do something about this, your town is going to be destroyed. Hey, you sign this contract and we'll help you. And so remember, he gave his soul up.
So in this aspect, were the devils, were they scared of Thormir?
They
How
weren't-
powerful he could become? Or was like wanting them to kind of take him down before he got to that next level? Or were they just wanting to warn them?
So the devils were thinking, if Thormir does what he's setting out to do, then the undead and demons will have control of the overworld and the abyss, which will give them more power in the blood
to
war.
then fight them. Correct.
And so it was like, all right, if we put a stop to that, we got to go help out the people on the overworld so that it doesn't get to that point.
Right. Like the enemy of my enemy.
Yeah.
Or the friend of my enemy.
Yeah.
What's the same?
But I feel like there was just like a lot. There was just a
enemy of my
lot
enemy.
going on.
I don't think that works in this.
I don't know.
Yeah, like
I was
to
like,
even
maybe
think
they would
about that.
explore that and they would
the enemy of
want to
my
dive more into it.
Yeah. Like, but
they
there
never
was just there was just too much going on.
I know,
I think
I
at
know.
that time, like
that's
there were
why-
people. Everybody was on the boats. We were trying to save Crow Reach,
Yeah.
and then it was like,
then
dude, like,
The other
okay, we
big
got to move
thing
on.
is this is where we finally get our name.
yes,
Yes, that's
right.
And I
And you
think
have
that
been
whole story.
asking for months.
Yeah, I remember just
months.
text thread like us
Yeah,
coming
so
up
you
with
guys
trying to
gotta
think of a
make a
name.
yeah.
And then you went what ChatGPT.
We went to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Is that where it came
And he
from?
threw
Yeah.
that out like just a couple of days before we had, and all of us thinking how ridiculous that was.
Yeah, I was
but I
like,
just remember
hate it.
as we were playing that day, we kind of joked about it or said things about it. It's like, I kind of like it. I'm starting to like it. Like, it's just so ridiculous, but it still has some points to it that make sense, like Lich Bane.
Yeah.
We're fighting a Lich and stuff. So we thought, like, how we can work that in.
Still hate it.
Still,
Yeah.
Wait, did we ever release our theme song?
Yeah.
Did you?
It was on
In a
Instagram.
world of magic.
It was for our 1 year anniversary, I
Yes,
think.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
We
right.
didn't really use it a ton. No.
Yeah.
But no, I think that was.
For the fight.
I'm glad we.
I love it.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I want
much.
that.
Yeah,
I want
like the
that
name of it.
somewhere.
Yeah, we need to put
More
that on
places.
Spotify
Yeah.
for people to put on their
should.
playlist.
I don't know if we can.
Why not?
Because it's AI.
Well, we'll just
I don't
It's
know.
a
Can we
wild west out there right now with
It
AI.
really
Yeah,
is,
let's
that's true.
record it. There's a guitar right there.
Put it in one of those
Yeah,
little
y'all can
playaway
play.
things.
The hit.
Get on
hit
Procreate.
tracks,
yeah,
yeah,
or
whatever
whatever
they
the
call
Going
heck
with
that's
that point of
called.
being like different storylines and stuff. Like, I feel like with the campaign, there was several of those things where it's like we could have gone down these tracks, and we just have to kind of think, with this next campaign of like, instead of making it the way I thought, it was like this ocean of 2-inch deep water, right? Just having like a smaller but deeper,
Yeah.
right? Like, just dig into a lot of the storylines better, but not having quite as many.
Right.
Right, because we know now like how long a campaign can go before we start kind of getting tired of it, and like how much time we actually have in a campaign,
Right.
and so just kind
But
of
also
more
with other campaigns happening, when we started to do our Patreon account or our
Right.
Patreon campaign, my brain really went like haywire. It was like, wait, where did this happen? Where did that happen?
right, yeah, trying to
But that is
multiple
like
campaigns.
kind of like a sandbox space for me. I feel like for me to like practice like a different character and like
Right.
using different things that I feel like I can be more creative there.
Do y'all think that contributed to wanting to wrap this campaign up because another one started, or not really?
No.
No, not for me.
Okay.
Right.
No. I think to me, I think kind of to what Bobby was saying was like the amount of story we had
Yeah.
and like how long it had gone.
Yeah.
It felt good to like, because it never felt bad to me. It was never like I don't want to play this
Right.
Right.
or anything
yeah.
like that. But it was more so like we're getting to a really good point where it's like it would be cool to do it now. Like it
Yeah.
would be cool for it to hit here and that kind of thing. Especially because you could tell Matt was kind of like intensifying all the other things that were
Yes,
happening
yeah.
around us.
Right.
Like, so it may not have been intensifying like with,
Yeah.
but everything else was.
Yeah.
And so you felt like we would have a sense of urgency. But from that, I think is why even from Crow Reach, it was like, we stayed for a day,
Right.
but let's go.
Yeah.
Like, let's go to Avalon because apparently Avalon, we need to, because of Leo, we
Right.
need to find out what happened there. Like,
Yeah,
and so it was,
It was interesting because like there was never a moment where y'all were like, let's stay here. I even gave options like multiple times, like, do y'all want to stay? Like, how long do y'all want to wait? Do y'all want to watch? And y'all are always like, nope, let's go. Let's go. And it going back to like how much.
Right. It being a podcast and you just want to like tell a story.
Because I think
keep the story
one of my
progressing.
favorite things in D&D, if I ever play a character, is like doing those type of things. Like I want to buy a house or I want to buy a fort. Like I gave them options
It's weird,
for like,
you know?
hey, there's this rundown fort.
Are you playing The
can
Sims
have
or
this.
are you playing D&D?
I remember being in like 5th, 6th grade and like drawing out like my castle for my character in D&D and being like, I'm running this. I got to spend X number of gold every month to keep it up. And I've got to have 3 or 4 people doing this and a couple people doing this. Or like if I was a cleric, I want to have my own church or I want to have my own monastery that I'm running. And like, I don't know, that's something I love. And then like nobody ever bought new armor.
Right.
Like literally no one ever bought new armor.
Well, because we had a mission.
I know.
We were trying to complete a mission versus
Right.
versus like, hey, this is kind of an open-ended, never-ending scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
And
again, I feel like that's the podcast playing in.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you play differently to some degree when you're just kind of, you don't have a timetable, you don't know nobody's listening, you know that, you can just kind of play around one day where it's just like, oh, we're just gonna, and it could all end up being terrible that you wouldn't even want to put that, on, let that out there.
Yeah.
And we don't have that luxury, right? Like we have to, whatever we make has to kind of go out there.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just a little bit different.
And I think that's why like session 0 today will be like fun because like we can talk through those things so we can all visualize it, right? Like maybe we did make those in our head and we like, I did the same thing like with my Sims thing. I would be in like middle school, like drawing out like my house, but this is also like a collaborative play.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't care. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like
Right.
not even just listeners, but like, I don't know if it always fits into like a group play.
Yeah.
Right.
And we never had a session. We never had a proper session 0 for this campaign.
Right.
It was more of like, oh, we're starting a podcast. Like that's more of what we were worried about. It's like how we're going to film it, how we're going to, record and stuff. A lot of that mechanical stuff was what we talked about. Our character, developing a character. But like you said, like what's important when you play? If that's important for Matt, if he, and like if I was DMing and Matt said that's important, okay, let's have some time where, okay, you're starting to build this church slowly on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have some time for that. And like I said, today when we do our another
day.
I'm wearing a completely different shirt.
Day from today.
Well, I would be wearing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The hair might be pretty much the same.
I mean,
Yes.
obviously.
Right.
Or like,
right.
I feel like we kind of did that. Like Ordella had Dyer's Rest.
Yeah.
And that was something that, mattered and I
She
created.
didn't like Cordell, but I mean, it's not a big deal.
But yeah, that was kind of part of it and tried to play in.
But I did like that we had like 7 got Willenor or Winland and like that kind of space for him, Ordella got Dyer's Rest.
And we saw your childhood
And
home,
now-
right?
Yeah, now
We're
we're heading to
Great
Avalon and
transition.
What a segue.
Yeah.
Great job.
You're
And we're
welcome.
headed to Avalon on the horses that were provided for the first time that we've gotten anything from.
Our awesome horses, all of them.
Yeah.
That y'all completely
So they go back.
talk
I
about.
want somebody to go back into
They're
the comments
gonna-
below.
Yeah.
I want you to tell
Let
us
'em
where
go.
are those horses.
That's another thing I was like, I
died.
loved
A
getting
unicorn.
like a
I
horse.
asked for a
Like a
unicorn.
war horse
Right,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Magical being.
I think
I
they're
can
in a
name
sanctuary kind of
Magic
reach,
horse
Like
mouse.
someone,
Living their
I'm
They didn't
sure-
talk about them after that
someone
day.
found them
Well,
and then they took
one
them to the
couldn't.
sanctuary.
Well, that's true. 7 died.
One couldn't.
I
Okay.
asked for a
Spoilers.
unicorn, Matt.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got a
You got a unicorn.
I had a
You did
I had a
unicorn.
Because
skeleton.
remember-
But she didn't like.
Yaros
Nothing
tried
magical or
to.
anything,
No.
Yeah.
Yaros
Did you
tried to
like
ride it.
glue a corn
I
on
guess
her?
I
a
could
cone
have.
on her
I
hat?
guess I could have cast something on her like eventually.
Should have brought him into battle and impaled something.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Mounted
You're right,
combat.
Matt
I had a
immediately killed it.
skeleton.
Right.
He would have immediately killed it.
Yeah.
What?
You would have immediately killed anything we brought in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You
I
don't
was,
let
I
them-
was
you don't
so
let that fun.
excited to have a
Well, they
skeleton
didn't use them
horse,
anyway, so
and
might
then
as well die.
so we
That's
just
true.
left it. We just left them all behind. They
They're all
can
dead.
go
They're
in
all
the
dead.
portals.
They're all dead, by the way.
Yeah.
No, they're at a. Someone
What about
found
the horses
them.
that y'all
Wait, how
left tied
validated
up
is
at
Matt
Fort
feeling
Blank?
today?
Yeah,
That died of starvation.
No,
Somebody
found them.
Somebody nipped those.
Yeah.
Somebody nipped those.
Don't you
horses.
put that
Those
on
weren't
us,
there really long.
Matthew Earls?
Yeah.
Dead.
In my head, I feel like someone found all of our horses and took really great care of them.
Yep.
They're living their best days.
Lives.
But what
yeah.
I liked about
guy
Avalon
in
when we
retirement.
first got in there was that it was like this desolate,
Right.
like,
Mm-hmm.
but there was
It
a
was
figure
already-
like hanging on a post,
Yeah.
like, and it seemed very like
Oh yeah, that was scary.
as close to like post-apocalyptic type of scenario that we had gotten to,
Yeah.
where it was like,
Like what
Now
could
we're
have happened to
deep in
Crow
it,
Reach?
right.
had we
Yeah.
not
yeah, now
come
we're
to save
deep
the
in
day.
it, and we're trying like there's nobody in the city, but we can tell there's people in the city. Like we can, like, and we're having to kind of sneak around and try not to be seen.
Yeah, that was
and,
spooky.
Like that was very different from like really anything else we had had
And I tried to
encountered.
tie everybody got their own arc, essentially. Like
Yeah.
you had the Dyer's Rest arc, you had the Avalon arc, you had the Thorndural arc, Seven was dead. But he got his.
Yeah.
He got his
He
moments.
had his moments.
Yeah.
But each one was kind of tied to y'all's personalities and like what y'all as individuals kind of like. Where Jess's was more spooky and horror-ish, and yours was more like traditional dwarven,
Silent
mountain,
Hill
like
stuff
that
going
kind of stuff.
But what I liked about Avalon, because even from probably like, man, the first couple sessions, you could tell that like Leo was probably like the front runner. Like just kind of like
I was the leader.
well, and
Like drives the story, like she's
right,
the-
like she was the lead.
Yeah.
Because it was like anything that really like she was the one who either had the knowledge or had some kind of understanding of or whatever. And when we got to Avalon, like that was like on display.
Yeah.
And from how she like left the party, like to take on everything that was underneath that. What was that? What were we
It was like
there?
under a tree or something.
No,
this is
before. This was before. This was
Was it like a catacomb or?
like something like that. What was it?
Oh, that is one. All right, go back before y'all even go to Avalon.
No, we're already at Avalon.
No, I
but
know,
go
I know.
ahead.
But getting to Avalon,
Yeah.
I offered y'all boats to get there much faster, and y'all were like,
Well, we had
"Nah,
the-
we're just gonna walk."
We had the horses.
You had the horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was like a whole bunch of stuff.
Sure.
on
In
a
the
boat.
water,
that got completely
I think the
bypassed.
Van Ruth's kind of like.
So
Okay.
he had a
Scared you
boat.
from the water.
We got
We were
there
like,
for the session that
I don't wanna do
day, and
the
he had
water.
a boat on the table, and we were like, no.
Nah.
This is too,
Yeah, we're like, we're not into it.
too on the nose here. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like
Change
we're
the
gonna
water.
we're gonna pass on that
Yeah,
and
we're gonna
get our horses instead.
Take 5.
But y'all talked to
Plan some
Ulrich.
more.
Yeah.
The Sanctum is where y'all went. The Eldermore Sanctum.
The Eldermore
Yes,
Sanctum.
that's right.
And we had to go beneath the Eldermore Sanctum.
Do y'all remember the 3 names of the
Oh man.
risen? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Joel.
Joel.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
So
'Cause-
ridiculous.
So this is where like Matt had these wild names, and so
Like fantasy names. Like you would find
Jess
that
would
Dungeons
just
and
start
Dragons.
saying Robert and like
What a dumb name.
Joel, and it's
Yeah,
a terrible name.
Joel.
Robert might be like the worst name.
Was it like
I've ever
Agatha Joel? I feel like they were very common names.
They
Like
were
it'd
very
be like
common names.
They were
Joel,
very-
Susan, and
Because that's what we just threw that on there.
yeah.
That's the good thing
Yeah.
about
Like,
being, you just say, oh, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And we,
Wait,
as long as we
let me-
keep running with it,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
you can't do
It has
anything
to
to change
change
it.
it.
Yeah. Oh
happened
man, yeah, I
several
don't have
times.
But
their-
that was
I
a
didn't write
big.
their
I think
names
that was
down.
like big Jess moments where she was having to like have faith in the water, like, and then fighting, the fire thing or whatever, going through
Oh,
that.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
where she
that
went
was
through
crazy.
all the elements.
Yeah.
The 4
Seven
elements. underneath.
brought Yaros back from death like
Yeah.
3 times during that against these like earth elemental
Y'all got
things.
stuck. Yeah, y'all got stuck in that first room with the earth elementals,
Yeah.
and then she just booked
Kept
it.
going.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you
Oh, both of
you're
y'all
like,
did,
where,
that's
right.
you're like,
Oh,
or
no,
you
you
were
went
like a
after
room
her.
before
Yeah,
me.
and it was
Yes.
just
Yeah.
it was basically just it was basically like Yaros would like hit one of them, do a ton of damage, and then they would fail him. So
Yeah.
I'd have to use my turn to bring him back.
Yeah.
And then he would
Over
hit
and
him
over.
again, and then they'd fail him, and I'd have to bring him back. And
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
I wasn't doing any damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was going ahead, and then Ardell was like, "Hey, where did Leo go? I'm gonna
she
go."
cannot go alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then y'all got into the fire room
Yeah.
with the guy with the fire swords.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah.
But we all got there.
Yeah,
we ended up
eventually.
meeting up
That was
together.
where we finally like all came together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And y'all got what you needed out of that, or you killed
The
what was
tablet.
there.
Wasn't that the tablet of
Yes.
resurrection or whatever
Yep.
for the tree?
And then
And then the tree.
and then the verdant hearth
And then
tree.
the verdant heart
Yeah,
tree. We had a
man.
great idea to set one of the little houses on fire.
Yeah,
That was a good
a
idea.
good idea.
Yeah, it was. It was a great idea.
It actually probably saved
more than
one person.
one person,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
but not all of them.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
So I will say again, I think this is where it was one of those. It did kind of put again. Leo was kind of more on display because here she is surrounded by a wall of fire, reading this tablet that's going to bring back to life the tree of her city of birth, and get rid of all these undead.
yeah.
And so super cool.
That was cool.
That was a super cool
but
moment.
I feel like I was supposed to do something before. Remember when I was like, oh crap, I was supposed to do something.
No,
I'm
that
like,
was against Stormir.
I think I was supposed to do I was supposed to do something before.
Remember.
That would
I was
have
supposed
made
to
it
cast
easier.
something. Yeah, like we had a plan. I was like, oh
yeah,
crap,
you.
I
What
forgot.
was
I
it? You were
should've-
going to.
We were gonna do something,
I don't
and I was
remember,
like,
yeah.
oh no, I forgot the one. I forgot the thing that we first talked about that I was gonna do.
Well, I had the wall of fire.
Yeah,
I
you
cast
had the
a
wall
of
fire to
fire.
put around her.
Was I gonna cast like fly on myself and like go in the tree or something? It was
Well, you were
something
thinking
like
about
that.
you had talked about that, but then we were like, but remember the knights are supposed to be in the tree. Are they supposed to be at the tree or something? And so we didn't know if you did that, if you would basically be putting yourself in their path.
Well,
or
whatever I
whatever.
was supposed to, or whatever I was or was not supposed to do, it activated this like bad guy or something. And I was like, oh no, I should have waited till I do that or something like that.
Yeah, I know when you started reading it,
Yeah, that
activated everybody.
Yeah. I think I was supposed to set up somewhere first and then start reading it. And I was like,
Well,
oh
you
no,
had
I
to
forgot to
be-
do that. And I was
You had
like,
to be
oh crap.
within 60 feet or something.
Yeah.
Or something like that or whatever. Yeah, that was a cool moment.
Yeah, that
Because
was
then
crazy.
Seven had to heal Yarost,
Yeah.
and everybody left Seven to lay on the ground. And
And we didn't just leave you there.
I know.
But
Definitely
like,
did.
All
we
your
had
pieces
to,
there.
definitely
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
had,
Kept you on
I mean,
lantern
we had
head.
to make
Yeah,
a
they didn't leave
decision.
all-
And your body.
All of you. Yeah.
And yeah, you
I
took me
took
with
all
it.
of your
Yeah.
targets.
We used
I
it
will
a few
say,
times.
I expected that to be harder, than it was.
Even though 7 died?
Right. Well, no, I'm saying I
Who's
expected
dying?
Seven dying to be harder.
For you?
For me, than it really
Emotionally?
was, just because we'd played
Right.
those
Yeah.
characters for so long.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where it was like, oh well, crap. Okay, let me figure out a new player.
Yeah.
You know, or a new character or
They're
whatever.
surprised.
I really enjoyed playing Seven,
Yeah.
but he was dead, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just
But I
kinda
mean,
go on
like
to the next.
thinking
and-
back, like what would have been the alternative plan? You know what I mean? Like even in the moment, you were just like, no, there's really no like alternate
Yeah.
path. You
Yeah.
just need to.
Well,
just
I
have
remember
to take
so
it,
hard,
and I was like, oh god,
trying to project, but trying not to project.
Yeah.
That, I'm dead. Don't come over here.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
rolled.
yeah,
Because
you
I
had to hit it.
rolled and
Oh,
I hit
yeah,
it
that's
because
right.
I didn't want them to know yes or
Yeah.
no.
Right.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I'm like holding it, and she's like, "Well, so do I go over there?
was
Do
like,
should I
stop?
stop reading?" And I'm like,
Right.
"Nah, I mean, you're gonna finish.
yeah,
you're
you're
gonna
like just
finish.
finish, and then we'll
Yeah.
figure
You're
it
gonna
out.
and you
finish.
had
Like,
such
want
a
you to
good
do that.
Yeah,
poker
I'm
face.
trying really hard
You really-
not
yeah,
to be
we
like,
had no
I'm
idea.
Complete the
I'm already
job.
dead,
Yeah.
guys. It's
Yeah.
already over.
Yeah.
And of course, me rolling.
Yeah.
I
Right.
needed
Should've
10,
known.
I rolled
Right.
9. Come on,
Sure, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Should have known.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I do
true.
remember it once you started rolling, it put everything to a halt, and everybody was trying to figure out what can I do in order to.
But knowing that nobody really could, there was
Right.
nothing that
Nothing I
Yaros
could
could do.
heal.
There's nothing
Right.
Ordella could do.
You had healing potions. I think
she
was the only
had
thing.
healing potions.
but I don't think she could
but
get there.
She couldn't.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's
I think
what
it was
and that was the
distance.
thing. It's
She
like
wouldn't
it
be able to get
wasn't
there.
going to happen.
Well,
Yeah.
also,
And even if she had, by that point,
It was
I
too
was already
late.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
it
I was
like your
really
death
being like,
saves, yeah.
yeah, I was already like.
but in
oh,
my
no.
head, when you play games, there's always, you can restart it or you can, so it is hard for me to know, like, no, dead means dead for
means
real.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like constantly thinking, how else could it be? But
So-
I need to let it just be.
When,
Like it just
when
is.
you stabbed me, that was 2 deaths.
Correct.
Right. So
Yeah.
I only got to roll one time.
One time.
Yeah.
One time. Yeah.
Yep. And the whole point of the stabbing was to try to get Leo to
Yeah.
break
Stop.
the.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yep. And that did it.
And that did it.
That did it. Poor
done
Seven.
did it.
He's just trying to do his best.
You know,
He's
he
trying his
went out a
best.
hero though.
Should have healed himself first.
Yeah.
Should have tried to like bring himself
Maybe.
back up a little bit.
Right.
But I
Right.
think again, I don't think I had any like bonus action healing.
And
type
those things
stuff.
hit hard too.
Mhm. So it was like we both got hit.
Right.
And it was one of those things where I was low, but I needed to bring you back up.
Right.
And I didn't have a bonus action healing of any kind. And so, because I had
You had
cast,
healing word, but it only did a D4.
but I had
Yeah.
already cast a leveled spell. I couldn't use that as a
Oh,
bonus
okay,
action.
okay.
And so it was like,
Right.
well, here we are, and then the next round I got hit again before my turn.
Yeah.
And that put me down.
Yeah.
So,
I think the death made the campaign way better because it made
it definitely was a turning point.
it was
Like-
definitely
Yeah.
a turning point,
Yeah.
and I feel like it made everything more real. Like Bobby was talking
Yes.
about earlier, if everything's trivial, then nothing matters. And
Yeah.
because there was a character that died, dead,
Mm-hmm.
and was too far away to take back to a healer, even if you could, it would have been too many days or whatever. It was like, oh crap, this can happen to any of us
Yeah.
type thing.
Well, and it happened to everyone's favorite.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
think Leo was the lead, but I think Seven was the favorite.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like he was Jarls runs into battle, raging every time, fell 50 times. You have to save
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Her hit points are so low that
Yeah.
it could happen to her at any time. Like he's the one with a 20 armor class.
Yeah.
Can,
AC at that
right.
time.
Can
Yeah.
heal
Yeah.
himself. Like
He shouldn't go down.
He's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And he
And
was
then-
the one that was most like a kid.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a-
Right.
Like
Right.
that,
So it's
I
like-
think, is
Yeah.
like where it hits
It's the-
harder.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the one that was so
Like innocent.
Right.
Yeah.
is the one that died,
Yeah.
not
Right.
the one that's like,
And again,
I hate
not
the world.
planned, but the dice tell the story.
Yep.
Right.
To where it's like,
Right, absolutely. Which is why I didn't want, like, when I rolled, I didn't want anybody to see it. Because then, like, if you see my roll and you know I'm dead, it changes how you approach
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like, let's just let this sit.
Sit.
And I know.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Yeah.
it comes back to my turn,
Everyone
I'll
will
let
know.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, that
So
kind of
then-
thing. Yeah.
Well, you just have to remember that Seven had a life before
Full-
Seven, a
yeah,
full life.
He had 2 full lives.
Is that what you tell yourself?
Yeah,
Yes.
full
Did you tell yourself to make you feel better?
Yeah, along with the horses out there at a
Right.
sanctuary. I'm like, Seven had a good life. He had a full life, a family before,
Yep.
This
That's
is
right.
just a shell of his inner self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was with
Exactly.
the people he loved.
Yeah,
Exactly.
both times,
Yeah.
all the times.
Yeah.